My name is Nick Sarafa. So I'm the founder of a company called Modern Mantra. We've been running a venture studio for the last 4 years. My background is CTO, software engineer. I've been coding since I was 15 years old. And I've most online seminar earlier last year that was all focused on teaching entrepreneurs the fundamentals of AI integration. So far, I've taught about 1,300-ish people. Hi, Mila, welcome. And I'm also the founder of the Lisbon New Tech Meetup. So if you are interested in networking with other techies, with other people in the space, we do weekly and monthly meetups focused on expanding the Lisbon tech community. And I'm also a VJ. So one of the things that I like to do is I'll just show you guys a video right here. This is like an example of some of my work. You guys can kind of see it. But basically, what we do is we blend different streams of visuals with different programmatic overlays in order to produce like custom experiences. This one's at Stories Festival in Lisbon, but we do all kinds of stuff. And being in this space, we like to get really creative. So we're always experimenting with the latest and greatest video generation tools. So my background is technical. I make my own sort of art. And that's why I use a lot of AI. So today, we're going to be some of my favorite creative tools that I'm using to make my own art. And then we're going to have some discussion and talk about what the future kind of looks like. So we're going to start with more theoretical, like high level, like where I feel like this ship is going kind of talk. And then we're going to move progressively into more practical applications with demos. Some things I'll be demoing, other things I won't. So, and also it's an intimate group, so feel free to jump in if you have a question. Like obviously there's 3 of us here. Everybody else is on the beach. So if you guys want to jump in at any point or slow me down, you're more than welcome to. So to start, AI, I've been teaching businesses to do this. I've been teaching my friends to do it. I feel that we are in a digital renaissance and we have newfound abilities that we've never had before. This is as creators, this is as people, and I think we're only scratching the surface of what is possible with AI. So I believe that the absolute vast majority of what we can do with this emerging technology has not been invented yet. And I believe this is going to open up new avenues, new forms of artistic expression for us as creators. This will exist through new businesses, new types of innovation, and a number of different things. We've only scratched the surface. You can kind of think of this as the 1930s of when we first invented like the telegram. Telegram leading to the telephone leading into the internet. We are at stage 1 of 10,000. And I think if you stay on the bleeding edge of the stuff, it's going to be a very exciting time for you and the people around you. So zooming out, what is AI here to do? So this is a little visual. It's the framework that Alex Hormozi uses. And it's basically, you can think of yourself as a creator like a ladder. So on one side of the ladder, you have your traits. You might be somebody who likes to wake up early. You're somebody who's very honest. You're somebody who likes to show up and be prepared. On the other side, you have your beliefs. Like, I believe we can make unlimited things using AI. I believe the world is a better place in the age of AI. I believe I can build $1 billion company. And in the middle, we have skills. AI and the trillions of dollars that's rushing into AI is aiming to eat the skills ladder. Everybody and their mother, every developer is aiming to build the AIs that's going to swallow every single skill. And what it's going to do is democratize access to things that previously took decades and decades of learning in order to be competent at. And and there's obviously a lot of different implications around these changes, but what's basically happening is that we are creating the tools to manifest. So in the past, you might have had an idea, right? And I'm sure we've all had ideas. The absolute vast majority of those ideas, they don't happen because of a lot of things. Well, we might have the skills, we might have the money, we might not have the hardware, maybe you don't have that red can camera, maybe you don't have the editing software, but in the age of AI, we are building a bridge, right? You might not necessarily need a budget of $5 million and a whole camera crew and 3 weeks shooting in order to make a movie. We now can basically instantly manifest our visions, and that's the goal of this technology. We are trying to minimize the gap between your thought and manifesting it into the world. And I'm going to show you some of those tools that I use to do that today. So this is the theoretical part. So in metaverses, okay, I want you to begin to think in terms of how we as creators contribute to these collective worlds. And this is going to be through what I call digital twinning. Okay, we are going to create digital twins or digital representations of our artistic assets that can be plugged into these different worlds. This is where I see things going. It's not going to be a tomorrow thing, but based on the projects that I've been pulled into, a lot of the entrepreneurs that I see leaning into this, this is kind of my take on where the future of media is heading. So let me just give you like one example. This is a video by this guy Demon Fox that combines Harry Potter and Balenciaga. So I'm just go ahead and play it. Can you guys hear it?
I can hear it actually.
No? Okay. You can? Okay, cool.
What is the difference between Asian and Balenciaga?
So that's just like one example in order to create something entirely new. And this is going to become progressively more common. You are going to be able to build entire metaversal worlds that see all the different contributions of different IP, different pieces of art that we create. Inevitably, I see it coming together into one universal world. Again, we're very theoretical, but I'm going to keep it this way until we move into the practical. Another example I want to give to you guys is this this example. And again, this is very early days, but I think it's a sign of things to come. So this is a development team that actually took all the scripts of Seinfeld, stuck it into a video game engine, and actually trained a version of Seinfeld so that it's always on and always creating. So basically, he could let it run and it would randomly generate new episodes of Seinfeld in this metaversal world. So I'll just go ahead and let it play. Just to give you guys an example of it. It's kind of funky, but there you go.
They're supposed to have the best food in town.
I heard they just opened up, and I'm dying to try it. But it looks so expensive.
Okay, so that's kind of a glimpse of it. And I know this stuff seems goofy. Okay, so this seems like very like, it's kind of low fidelity. It's very goofy, but both of these videos and these technologies were actually invented over 1.5 years ago. So the technology is accelerating at a pace where when we have an idea as a creator, right, understanding some of these technologies, right, we can actually plug these things into these different worlds. So I can imagine a world where you might have the Seinfeld that lives next door to the Simpsons, that's down the street from Rick and Morty, and all of your favorite characters exist in one universal place. So when we're thinking about our own artistic contributions or all the different things that we can now create, we can now mix and blend these different mediums and platforms. If there's something that gives you inspiration and you want to bring it into a new place or mix and mash it with your other favorite artists, you now have the ability to do so. So this is another example. Unfortunately, the video got removed from YouTube, but basically this artist created a full track, a full song, and actually had The Weeknd and Drake both performing on it. It was a pretty fire tune. I can't play it right now because it got deleted from the internet. But even as a musician, if you ever had the yearning to work with some really great artist, or there's somebody, a lot of ethical implications in doing so, but it is now a possibility. I believe in the future, we're even going to spin up entire music creation metaverses. So in your own computer, you're going to be able to put in Kanye West, the Beatles, and yourself to have an all-night jam session in order to create thousands and thousands of songs. This is where the world of content generation is heading, where you are going to mix and match these things into these little micro worlds, and it's going to automatically generate those things for you as an artist, kind of creating this own little creative soup and outputting that information. Obviously, what I put in front of you, that's not the tool sets, but this is where the world's going and how we are going to head into a world where AI is going to be our digital collaborators. So how do we actually get there? There's a lot of things happening right now. I don't know if you guys saw the latest updates from ChatGPT, or how many people have seen the movie Her here? Have you guys seen it?
Yeah.
I can see two of you. Okay. So basically, where we're heading is into a world where we no longer communicate with the internet directly. I believe that AI is going to be the medium between us and the full internet. It's going to act on our behalf. So if we want to create music, if you want to create video, if you want to create a sales page, whatever it might be, AI is going to do that on our behalf. And I'm going to show you some of the tools that I use to do that. So AI is here. We've evolved into this wild and new space, and it's going to be our digital co-creators. So I'm going to show you a couple of my favorites here. So in the old world, we used to have a person go to a computer or an app. You then go and communicate with other people in different apps. But in the new way, there's going to be a different way of doing things. So this is something that I like to follow when it comes to delegating responsibilities inside of companies. But I believe that most of the creative process is going to move in this direction. In the past, you might go activate people, you might go activate apps, but in the future, you're actually going to be activating a series of bots. Okay, you're going to go to a specific interface that's going to spin up other AI bots, and then you're going to implement a process that I call 10-80-10. It'll be 10% of the original artist who has the idea for the creation. 80% of the creation will be created in collaboration with the AI, and the last 10% will be quality assured or curated by humans. This is something we've been doing in software engineering for a very, very long time. If I want to go spin up a website, I might go to an interface and I might go deploy it, but then I have all the servers and software in the middle that puts on the internet, make sure it's secure, puts it onto the website, and then I make sure that I go check it at the end. I believe most of what we do is going to follow this same formula, and we are in the process of seeing those first tools come alive, with some contingencies for artists themselves. So, creation today. If you are a creator, if you are building a brand, if you are creating a cohesive world on the internet, you have a couple of different components, right? You can create copy for copywriting. You can create a specific brand. You might post some images. You might create video. You might create community. In the future, right? And when I say the future, I really mean now, all of this stuff becomes training data for the AI systems. The things that you create, the vibe that you curate on the internet is going to be the center that's going to naturally expand out into new mediums. When you are an artist, when you are a creator, you now have the ability to create entire video games. You can create VR experiences. You can spin up an actual sales agent to make phone calls on your behalf or a live streaming avatar. And by the way, what I'm explaining to you is not theoretical. All of these tools exist today. Everything that you can do, you can now create through these different tools. Bland is something that you can spin up a phone agent. 11 Labs means that you can clone your voice, put in the internet. Immersal means that you can build a full VR experience. Scenario, build augmented reality experience. Google Genie, which is still an experiment. You can actually create fully fledged video games. And even HeyGen, you can create digital avatars. And I'll be actually doing that one today. But these are all on the bleeding edge of what's possible. And because of the power of AI, your power as an artist is expanding incrementally. If you've been somebody who's just said, I make images, I write copy, that's it. I highly encourage you to look at these new tools and expand your creativity, your reach, and your expression through what is available. Sorry, go ahead.
You want to cook
Hey, Shannon, you have a question? Okay, I don't think it's a question. All right, thanks, Shannon. Okay, so what makes AI creator tools unique? Or like, how do I see these tool sets? So I've been playing with a whole bunch of this stuff. Basically, when something comes online, I play with it, experiment with it. I'm making videos about it. So buckets, okay? There's 3 different, you can call them flavors of AI tooling, okay? So the first one is what I call the blank page AI, okay? This is, we want to go from 0 to 1, meaning we have nothing and we want to turn to something, right? You have an idea and you want to turn it into an image, you go to one AI. That is a different flavor of AI than what I call refinement, okay? Which is where the majority of the work is done. So if you are a professional photographer, right, and you've already have that specific image, right, you're going to be using a whole different tool set than somebody who's just using it for video generation. And normally, that is a different tool than the polish, which is the last 10% we need to make it really good. And I see most AI tools and most of the creative process we follow following this format. People think it's going to be like one AI tool, it does it all, and then like, that's not the way it works today. It might be in the future, but today you from 0 to 1, different than the tools we use for refinement to make it really good, different than the ones we use for polish. So I'm going to walk you through kind of different examples of this breakdown right now using image generation. So how many of you are familiar with Midjourney, DALL-E, or Magnific? Raise your hand. Okay, so you got 2 hands raised, 3 hands raised. Okay, so I'll just walk you through real quickly, sort of how these different tools work. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Wait, let me minimize this real quick. So you guys have all used Midjourney. You guys have all used DALL-E. Marco, I know you're technical. Here we go. Okay, can you guys see my screen? Okay, so I was actually generating an image for this conference. So do that. So this is an example of us applying the blank page problem. So I have an idea for an image, right? So I do /imagine. I enter my prompt, which is a person wearing headphones surrounded by colorful music notes. And I basically describe the effect, okay? So what's going to do is it's going to reach in and it's going to create that image. This is probably something that you have seen before, but this is an example of us going from a concept from blank page into something that has now been generated. This is where a lot of people who are new to stuff get very excited, right? Who are like, holy shit, I never knew I could do that. And the person who's very experienced with Photoshop, with image generation, is not so impressed. So I just went from 0 to go with my image. So I'll go ahead and I'll upscale one specific image, which I'll just choose this picture of this girl. So when you choose that, Midjourney allows you to basically make it a little bit nicer. So go ahead and click Save Image. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to move from the blank page into the second step of that process that is called the refinement. So I'm going to go ahead. Can you guys see my screen? Cool. All right. I'm going to go ahead and open up DALL-E, click Upload an Image. And then what I'm going to do is I'm editing that image. So save image. There you go. Thank you very much. And go over here. Boom. And I'm going to go ahead and begin editing it. So what I can do now is I can go ahead and click this eraser tool. And I can actually ask it to change the shirt color. So if I just go ahead and remove that shirt, and maybe I can just say, wear a blue sweatshirt. what's going to happen is that it's going to only focus on that specific part of the image and change that individual piece. Now, this is going to be a very similar process as to what you're going to follow with other tools you might use. If you're creating a video, you are going to use one tool normally in order to generate the first version of it. You're probably going to end up moving it into a different tool to do the refinement and the editing. So if you're a video editor, you might use Premiere Pro, or you might use Descript or something that you're familiar with. And that's normally different than the last step of the process, that is polish. So I can go ahead and I'm going to wait for it to change. And this usually takes a minute, but you can kind of see like how this is going to impact our creative process. In the past, I might open up Photoshop, begin building things from scratch, but now I'm just communicating with the AI tools in order to create, now going to give us different versions. And by the way, we're doing live demos, so things are going to break, and we're just going to have patience for that. So I like this one, so I'll go ahead and click accept. Okay, so we just changed the sweater. I'm going to go ahead and click download. So now I have it on my computer. Now, I just went from 0 to image, now image into refinement, and now I'm going to step into the last stage, which is the polish. And this is another one of my favorite tools. If you are using images for generation, this is a tool called Magnific. This is probably something you guys have not heard of yet, unless you are heavy on Twitter. And what this tool does is that it actually upscales our images that we create. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the image of our girl in the sweatshirt. And then I'm going to be able to choose a scale factor, which is like, how optimal do you really want this thing? And then you can add a bunch of different processes, but I'll go ahead and click upscale. And what it's going to do is it's going to take my image and refine it into a place that's much more in alignment with like what the AI believes it should look like. So here's some examples. So on the left here, you have I don't want the editor. On the left of this example, you have the image of the old man. Over here, that's created by the AI. On the right side, you have the after. So you can see the massive difference that it makes when we apply a polished layer. So for all the things that you are editing or generating, whether it is music, whether it is video, whether it is image, I highly recommend you find a polished tool that's specific to your process. Or if you're even like a regular artist, right, look for different polished examples so that you can apply this same incredible tech. So here we go. So on the left side, we have, I'm going to go ahead and blow this up a bit. Oh no. Okay, there it is. Okay. All right. So on the left side, we have the before. On the right side, we have the after. There you go. You can see that the colors are now popping a bit more. You can see that the sweater looks a little bit better. And you can see that it's still honoring the art style, but it's also making the image higher fidelity and much more appropriate. So 3 of my favorite image generation tools. Then I'll throw it through DALL-E in order to do some of the editing, and then I'll use Magnific to upscale it. So every image that you see across all the images I post, all the I post, all the thumbnails, they follow a very similar process. Another cool thing about Midjourney specifically that I want to share with you guys is that they now have a web searching tool. So if you want to come over here and just search like I just did, girl in headphones, you can actually go in here and find every example of anybody using Midjourney ever to generate that specific image. So if you're looking for inspiration for how to visualize something, this is a really good tool to do so. And if you open it up, you can actually see the exact prompt that they used, which is pretty cool. You can copy it, and then you can go ahead and use it yourself in Midjourney. Any questions so far before I carry on?
I have one, but it's not directly to that topic, because you mentioned polishing programs for music. Do you have any recommendations or something you like to use?
So I am very astute in like video creation, image creation, and copy. I'm not a DJ, and my understanding of the full stack of going from 0 to like 90-minute mixtape is I don't have a specific recommendation just because I haven't done it. If you wanted to talk about that in like the video process or the image process or the copywriting process, I can speak to it, but I've never made a mixtape or an album, unfortunately. I wish I could give you a better answer, but I just don't know the tool off the top of my head. But what I can promise you is that the tools definitely exist. Actually, we have a podcast, and I have a tool that's built by Adobe, that's like for cleaning up audio and enhancing it in the background. So I'm not sure if this would work for music, but it's probably worth a try. It's a free tool from Adobe, and I use this for cleaning up all my podcast audio. So it's not music, but like it's like our podcast, and it's optimized for that specific purpose. I know the tools exist out there, and if you shoot me a message, I can follow up with you later and see if I can find you any.
Okay, cool.
Any other questions before I carry on?
Yeah, sorry, just one more. Do you work with the Suno or Udio?
Yeah. Yes, I'm going to show you Suno today, and we're going to demo it live. So that's one of the tools I'll be showing you. Okay.
Thank you.
Cool. Of course. All right. Let me just close out the tabs I don't need. Okay. Screen sharing failed. Nice. Okay. So here we go. All right. Can you guys see my screen? Cool. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to be showing you guys some of my favorite tools that I use. So here's a bunch of the tools we're going to cover today. And in no particular order, I'm going to go through them and just show you guys just some of the ones I like to use. So the first one I'm going to show you that I think is genuinely probably the most interesting on the internet right now, in my opinion. It's a tool called HeyGen. So HeyGen has a whole bunch of different things baked into it. So you can actually go on here and create your own video avatar. So if you were going to create, like if you're doing live streaming, if you're somebody who makes a lot of video content, you can go ahead in here and you can create an avatar that can both perform live streams and now record full videos for you on your behalf. So if you're somebody that likes to make a lot of content, this is a very exciting glimpse into the future. In the future, you're not going to necessarily have to sit in front of a camera, do all the performance work, and do everything from scratch. You're going to be able to install a video avatar to do before you, both in a live stream and in video content. It's really cool. You also can clone your voice, all within the same tool. So you can actually create a digital twin of your voice so that you can create automated podcasts. You can also create voice notes for your friends. A lot of cool stuff you can do this. Also some not so cool stuff you can do with it, but that's kind of an overview of what you can do within this tool. I could demo it, but it just takes a long time to generate. The other really cool thing you can do is video translation. So if you are creating content, what you can actually do is upload it, and it's going to translate it for you into different languages. So if you're somebody that's making content or a song or a specific video piece, it will go ahead and grab your video and recreate it for you on your behalf. So here's an example of that. So this is my ex-girlfriend. She does not speak Portuguese, but in this video, she does. So HeyGen allows you to translate your content auto-magically. It also allows you to create instant highlights of long-form video content. So if you have a long-form video that's like a podcast, or if you are trying to create clips for something, this is a cool tool where you can actually upload your video or just drop it in from YouTube. It will go through and create highlight reels that are appropriate for social media. This is again a refinement tool, is what I would call it, for all different stuff. You translation, you have highlights in here. You also can generate generate whole ads now, right, that are appropriate for Instagram and other places. And this is only the beginning of all the cool stuff that they're doing with AI. I think this is definitely one of the most incredible multifaceted tools. And it's kind of my first go-to. Every time they have an update, I go directly to HeyGen, and I highly encourage you guys to check it out. They're basically making it super easy to create videos, translate them, and do a bunch of other stuff too. So going back here, another cool one I wanted to highlight, it's a tool made by my buddy. It's called Interior AI. And basically what this allows you to do is upload an image of the inside of your house, and it gives you different takes on what the interior could look like. So if you're somebody who's redesigning a house, if you're somebody who's doing a lot of rethinking of physical spaces, or you're trying to design a stage or visualize the inside of something, this is a model that's explicitly built to translate your image into different formats. I use it for redesigning homes and all different kinds of stuff. Or if we're setting up like a stage for an event, or you're looking to visualize like a physical space, this is my go-to tool for that. Going back to the presentation. So the next one I want to show you guys, Suno. So it is suno.com now. It used to be suno.ai. But basically what you can do is you can log on and you can create your own songs. Okay, so I'll go ahead and grab one of these prompts, a bouncy hip hop song about going to Moga Dance Festival in Costa da Caparica, Portugal. And again, this is a blank page tool. So what it's going to do now is it's going to take my prompt and it's going to create it for me. And it's really easy to go from like 0 into something. So there's a lot of different use cases for Suno, but I think it's just really cool to create songs just for my friends. So if there's somebody who there's a specific event coming up, or you wanted to create a jingle to make fun of your friend, Suno is a really cool place to do that. And they just raised, I think, another 150 million to expand this set. So when it comes to this technology, I've actually seen, there's one guy that just there's a story about him. I can't remember his name, but this guy basically has like 600 different brands on Spotify, and he's actually been using AI to generate music for them. So he does like meditation music. He'll have another artist who's making electronic music. So if you're somebody who's been interested in making music, now's a really cool time to jump in. So I'll go ahead and I can make it a public link as well, which is cool. And then let's just see how it turned out.
Sunshine, feel the breeze. It's about to see, living free. Living time, scarce life, multiplies in the sky. That's why. Beats are pumping, like a jumping.
It's not bad, it's not great, but it's also not bad. The technology is improving. So here's another. It usually gives you 2 versions, so I'll go ahead and put this on too. This one's kind of better. Yeah, so that's the link to the song, but you can kind of see what's happening. Basically, you enter the prompts, it goes through the process of turning it into a song. You also can turn on custom mode, which allows you to upload your own lyrics. So if you wanted to, make your own lyrics, or if you want to enter a poem of your choice, you can go ahead and put it in here. And it also gives you much more finite control over the intricacies of how to generate the music. These user interfaces are only going to get more and more advanced, giving you more fine-tunability over that music creation process. Now, I want to be very clear. I don't believe that AI generated music is going to replace musicians, period. I believe that it's a fun tool that we can go from 0 to 1. And if you're not an artist like myself, like I was just explaining to Mira earlier, it's a fun thing for me to make some stuff. But I don't believe we're going to get to the point today where it replaces the culture in its entirety. We can talk more about this later, maybe in the Q&A, but I think this is, for the time being, a very fun tool. If you want to make custom songs for your friends, or if you want to surprise a loved one, that's really the use case for it. I don't think it's at the point where it's really replacing things, and I think there's a lot more cultural nuance to the music we share. So that's my favorite one, Suno. They're definitely on the leading edge, in my opinion, of the other ones that are out there. The other ones I want to show you guys are for video creation. So Pika and Runway are my two current favorites. And then there's this other one, which is on the horizon, that's called Sora. So I'll go ahead and start with the most impressive one that we know now exists. It's a tool that was launched by OpenAI. And here are some example videos of what it can create. So these are prompts on the bottom, and you can see the videos on the top.
This is a game changer for a lot of things, I reckon.
Yeah, this is a game changer for sure. So while that's playing, I just want to explain a couple things, and I'll just let this play in the background so you guys can watch the different videos. What's quite interesting about this tool specifically, and the key innovation that led to this being possible, is that AI is beginning to understand physics, okay? What OpenAI did is they took their previous technology, ChatGPT, went through every video that's available on the internet. They also use YouTube. They'll never admit it, but they did. And then they used AI to describe and what we were left with is enough detail that the AI is beginning to understand the physics of the actual world. So when that person moves and that cat smushes the nose, the AI is now highly informed enough to create a presentation of what is happening. This is pointing to a much, much larger innovation that I'm not going to cover in this video because it's way too broad, which is what happens when AI fully cracks real world physics. That's when the world is going to change at an extremely accelerated rate. But for the time being, us inching closer to this innovation means that we can make videos like this. Unfortunately, Sora is still a closed source. OpenAI is conscious released into the world. I mean, you can even see the the mirrors and the reflections of things on the characters. I shot them a bunch of emails. I got onto every closed beta list, making up all sorts of crazy projects. They would not give me access. And right now, there are people at Sora running around Hollywood, going to every single studio that's out there that will take the meeting, demonstrating these tools and putting it into the hands of artists. So what you're seeing are the first examples of people using this tool to create. But we know the technology exists. We also know, based on the estimates that experts have given, it can cost right now about $400 to create a 1-minute video. And that's because the cost of computation is so high. So for the time being, this tool is not for everybody. In fact, a lot of the higher end tool generation, specifically for video, might be priced out of where we are today. So this is where this tool exists. We know it exists. It is out there, but we do not have public access to it yet. OpenAI is aware of the ethical implications. With that said, I'm going to show you guys some tools that you can use today. But just know, if you're making videos, if you're somebody who's a musician who wants to create a music video, this technology is coming. We know it is here. It even could be dropped as early as next week. And you're going to have the ability to move into being a filmmaker. We no longer have to be in Hollywood with access to millions of dollars. You can now make your own film. So that's the future. And what can you use today? Well, these are my two favorite. There are two tools. They're called Runway, and the other one is called Pika. So these are both two incredible tools that I believe I have upgraded. I'm gonna go ahead and click refresh on this one. Come on, baby. No, okay. So I'll start with Runway. So it's runway.ml. And what you can, I mean, all these tools are kind of expanding on their existing services. So here you see image generation. You also can create three-dimensional assets now, but we're really here to generate videos. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and click try Gen 2. That's their latest tool. So they basically call it like Gen 1, Gen 2, eventually Gen 3 is going to come out. And what I'm going to do is you can go from a prompt. So if you wanted to just enter like an image that you want to create, I'll just put a bird flying through the city of Atlantis, old school vibes, or not, like in Portugal, futuristic, cool colors. I do is add an image to help you generate. But what it's now going to do is it's going to go to the cloud and it's going to go ahead and create that video for me. Now, pro tip for those who are really using the stuff, it really helps when you can describe the image in great detail. So if you say, hey, it's a close-up shot, or it starts with the bird's wings and expands out into them flying into the side of a city, it's going to follow that as close as humanly possible. Now, I just have to point out the speed at which this stuff works has increased 10x. In the past, it would take 10 minutes for this thing to be created, but now we can go at a lot faster speed. So I'll go back to Runway. I'll go ahead and grab the same prompt, and let's go over to Pika. And then what I'm going to do is go ahead and ask Pika nicely, and hopefully it works, to generate the video. And there you go. So we'll see what it creates. And this is the fun part, which is being patient and waiting for the AI to do its thing, because it usually takes a while. So while these two are generating those video assets, I'm just going to go ahead and share with you guys a bonus tool that I really think everybody should be using. So when it comes to search and searching the internet, I basically have moved everything off of Google and I only fully use Perplexity. So Perplexity is like a search engine on steroids. So I'll just go ahead and search the best AI video generation tools. There you go. Go ahead and click search. And I'm paying for the pro version, but you don't necessarily have to. And what it's going to do is it's going to show me all the different sources that it's pulling from, the different videos that it recommends. And what's really cool about this tool is that it actually lists the different sources so that I can click in and see where these results are coming from. Perplexity is an absolutely incredible tool. There you see Runway over there, and you'll probably see Pika at some point. But if you are somebody who's using search a lot, which most of us are, Perplexity is a really cool tool to use. So now back to our regular programming. So I'm going to go back over to Pika, and let's just see what it created. And there you go. There's our malformed bird that it created. So if you like that video, what you can do is a couple different things. So you can edit it yourself. And again, this is that refinement tool that we talked about. By modifying a specific region, which is kind of similar to what I did with the eraser tool earlier. I can expand the canvas, meaning change the aspect ratio, or I can add sound and sound effects. I don't really like this output, so I'll go ahead and click retry. And so it's very easy once you find a specific clip you like. Just simply by clicking the edit tool, you can actually expand it out and just keep on adding time. So what I'll usually do is I'll wait until I find a clip that like, yeah, I'm down with that. And then I'll ask the tool to continually generate it. Now, just so you know, the computation power necessary to make videos is quite expensive. So I don't recommend you continuing adding onto clip until you find one you like. Make sure it's a great starting clip, or another option is to actually start with your own clip or with your own image. Use that as the first frame, and you usually get much, much better outputs. So I'll go over here into Runway, and let's just see what it came up with. And there you go. So this is more of like a Miami vibes. It's not really so Atlantis, but you kind of get a sense of what is now possible. Again, these are very early on tools. Obviously, these are not Sora quality, but this is the beginning using this tech. Another thing that's cool about Runway, and by the way, Runway's been around longer than most people, so they've got a lot more features. You can actually set up the camera like to find the different angle that you're looking for if you're somebody who makes a lot of videos. You also can use something called motion brush, which is really cool, where I can actually upload an image. Let's go ahead and grab the download. So this is cool if you're making like animated GIFs. So now I'm like stacking the tools. And what you can do is you can activate certain areas of the image to turn it into video. So if you start with an image that you like, you can actually use motion brush, what's basically takes an area of the video and then adds motion to it, turning it into a GIF or turning it into a video itself. So let's just go ahead and upload a picture of the girl wearing the headphones, and let's see the fun stuff that we can create once it's ready. And again, when it comes to these things, it's just important to have patience. All these tools are kind of on the bleeding edge. And what I see a lot of people do is, especially creators, they'll like open it up, be like, ah, shit, it didn't work. And like, it didn't upload, it didn't work. And I really encourage you not to do that and just throw these things to the trash. It's much better to get through the nuance of this new technology and make sure you give it a chance. Okay. Thank you. Okay. So we'll go ahead and make the splashing colors move. I'm going to make it bigger. Okay. So let's see what happens when I choose like these areas to make it move around it. Okay. So let's do ambient noise up, the x-axis there, the y-axis there. And then I don't even know what that does, but let's just see what happens. But this is a really cool tool if you've created an image and you're looking to bring it to life. You don't want it really in a full video format, but it can create some pretty cool effects, and it's really great for engaging content on websites. It's great for if you have an album cover, you can make it animated, or if there's like a favorite image that you like, I encourage you to use this tool and kind of just play with it and see what happens. So that's the brush tool. Again, we're going to wait for those things to generate. And now you can also do audio. So again, you'll see a lot of these tools begin to encompass outputs of like the session. They're going to integrate sound generation and vice versa. Normally, I find that each tool is great for like one thing. And I encourage you to mix and match the best stuff, right? Just because a tool is available within one specific tool doesn't mean it's necessarily the best at all. And I really encourage you to begin thinking as you're playing with AI, find the best tool for the blank page, right? Assume that it's going to be a different tool for refinement, and then assume it's a different tool for polish. Very rarely, in fact, pretty much not ever have I found that the tools are best encompassed that can do all three very well. So we're going to go ahead and let that video cook. The other thing I wanted to share with you guys, just kind of give you guys a bit more bonus material. Obviously, this is about like creative output, but the tool that I use for all of my copywriting now, it's a tool called Claude. It's the same price as ChatGPT. It's $20 a month. It operates very, very similarly. I don't know why it's just the best copywriter. Like I pay $20 a month. And if you are somebody who's writing sales copy, if you're somebody who's writing a lot of emails, if you're somebody who's like doing a lot of writing and a lot of copywriting, I've moved all of my copywriting, at least like not the ideation, but the actual polish and the refinement all into Claude. So if you guys want the best copywriting tool, in my opinion, and you're somebody who does copywriting professionally or doing a lot of public facing writing, I recommend Claude as my #1 tool today. So let's go back to our There we go. And let's just see what happened to that video with the motion brush. Okay. Okay, and while that's loading, I'm going to give you guys one more bonus. So ChatGPT, that I believe most of us are familiar with, and Marco, I know that you're probably familiar with this. They launched something called the GPT Store. And if you are looking for, if you're like looking for anything around AI, I find this to be a really good place to start. So what happened is that they're now allowing companies to make custom GPTs. A really good one is like an example of this is Canva. So you can actually open up this tool using the AI, the Canva AI. You can describe to it a specific asset you want to generate, and it'll actually open up Canva and create it for you. Or if you're looking to create a logo, they have specifically tuned models that do specific things. You'll also see that Adobe has recently launched their first AI model, and you can assume that most of the tools that we are going to be using as creators, they're probably going to generate some, they're going to create some sort of GPT that you can actually plug in your idea and make the video. So that'll take us from going from text into the actual asset. So if you're looking for something new, or you're like, hey, I want to like try different video generation tools, this is a really good place to start. Usually the companies will have like free offers for the integration for ChatGPT, so you can try a lot of different video tools at the same time. So let's go back over to Buddy over here at Runway, and there we go. It's a little bit of nightmare fuel, but I think it's because I changed the Z-axis, but you can kind of see how it's taking that image and transitioning it from image into a video. So this is going to become very commonplace where different assets, I can imagine a world where we'll be able to translate this image into a song, the song into a video, and then back into a different image, right? So all of the media that we input the AI doesn't really care. We can translate into new mediums. And this is kind of the beginning of this whole process, and we were here today. So those are the tools that I wanted to cover. I want to leave 30 minutes for Q&A and open discussion. But if you guys have at Nick Sarafa, that's my title on everything. It doesn't matter what the platform. I'm usually most active on Instagram, or shoot me an email. But now we can move into some Q&A. Thank you very much.
I have a question. So regarding, I mean, all the tools you've showed us, there's a lot of space here, and I also see a lot on Twitter and other people posting about these ideas of like kind of faceless YouTube channels. And I was doing deep dives into this, and I'm wondering, well, I'm interested in doing more deep dives. I'm wondering, do you know of any kind of successful people who have done that in a way that they're not just loading the internet with crap? You know what I mean? Like they've actually done it from a can you give me an example? I don't know if you've seen one where someone has actually executed on this quite well, and is providing value to their viewers.
So the best example of this, I can't remember the name of his off the top of his head. He's actually a Minecraft creator. So he's been making Minecraft videos for like 10 years, and he's created an entire automated process with his own video avatar, playing Minecraft, installing AI agents into Minecraft in order to do interesting tasks. He's doing it all in the open, which I think is a very ethical way to do it. Explain to people how he's using the technology, all the different new types of videos that he's creating. I think that's the most interesting example that I've seen of a faceless YouTube channel, because he actually started with a face. He actually was a Minecraft creator. He's been doing it for years. He's built trust with his audience, and he's using his technology to further enhance and continue to curate this sort of experiences for his audience. Another thing that Mark is referring to, for those who are not on Twitter like we are every day, is that you see different Twitter threads of like, how I made 10 grand this month, the faceless YouTube channel. Classic. I do believe it is possible, because you can now basically take a long bit. Now, how much is that crap? Probably the majority of it. But if you crack the code and you know how to structure these bots, you can create video and content that is not crappy. We know that because you know, there are examples of it. I think the YouTube channel with the Minecraft is the best example. And also, now that we have decent enough animation tools, I saw one recently that was like hand-drawn animations. You know, like the process of like coloring on a coloring board, right?
Mhm.
They can now do that using AI. I think that's going to unlock a lot of interesting learning opportunities.
Mhm.
And even if the technology is not here yet today, keep an eye on it. And if you feel called to it, be the one to create that specific innovation. You know, keep experimenting with it because it's not all crap. A lot of people posting about making big money on it are probably full of shit, but like the technology is real. It's here. It's getting better every day. And it's definitely worth experimenting with.
I
And
think
if you
that's
shoot
the
me a
key to
message,
it.
I can find that exact YouTuber. I know I follow him on Twitter.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Cool.
cool. Any other questions?
I'm curious about stable diffusion. Do you know any platforms that work with that to
Mhm.
create videos?
Yes. So I've actually used Stable Diffusion myself to make a ton of videos. And so Stable Diffusion, for those who don't know, it's an open source version of the image and now video generation tools that you've kind of come to know and love. So this team of researchers, they kind of saw what DALL-E and OpenAI was doing. They're like, hey, allows you to run your own local models, meaning like completely air grabbed from the internet in order to generate your own images. So I actually have a tool that I recommend. Are you a Mac user by chance?
Uh-huh.
So it's called, I don't have it installed, but it's called Diffusion B. This is something that I've experimented with in the past, and it's a really good starting point. It's all open source, and you can run your own stable diffusion models on your MacBook. So if you're looking to experiment with your own specific like image generation model, Diffusion B is really awesome. And some of the reasons why you might want to use your own models that these things can become very expensive. One, they also have content restrictions. So you can't run images of somebody's face. You can't make do. And Diffusion B allows you to do that in a fully offline way. And when it comes to how effective it is, like when I'm using Midjourney to make images like this, right? It's a lot of computational power. So the effectiveness of the local instance of Stable Diffusion, other local image generation models, is going to be dependent on your GPU or how powerful your computer is. So just to set expectations, the stuff that you can make on your local MacBook, if your GPU is not very powerful, it's gonna like start going as it tries to make it. And the other, another pro tip is you're going to want to install your own training data. So you can just search Stable Diffusion and training data. And what you can do is download your own set of images to train your model on. So if you are a photographer, right, with a huge repository of different images, like you have 100 of your like premier images, you can use that as the model to base the images you generate off of. So that's one of the advantages of running your own model. You can fine tune it using your own image. And if you have a strong enough GPU, generate something that's at least close enough to game of there's one website that's really good at downloading high quality diffusion models. I can't remember the name of it, but if you shoot me a message on Instagram, I can find it for you. I think it's could be Stability. I don't know. But basically what you want to do is find a really good training data set. Make sure to start with that. And oh, here, yeah, this is it. This is it. And by the way, just to set expectations of images and stuff, it's also completely uncensored. So you can make anything that you choose to create. So just to set expectations is when you dive into the world of your own image generation models, it's going to get weird. Trust me, I've been to those corners of the internet, and just go at your own pace. Okay.
Cool, thank you.
Can I just bump in there? I heard, did you mention that you were interested more in the video side of it or in the image side of it, the Stable Diffusion?
I saw, well, video, I think. I saw some really cool YouTubes that were, they encompassed what I was visioning in my head. And I was like, how did they create that? I think it might have been Night Cafe. But I went on there and I wasn't finding out how to make it myself. So, but I didn't realize, I thought Stable Diffusion was video creation, but it sounds like it's actually images and video.
No, I think Stable Diffusion but naturally is more images, but then there are ways where they can kind of interpolate a bunch of images together to make a video. And if you're interested in that, I recommend, it's a bit like, I don't know how technical you are, but there are some more technical sides of it. And there's a thing called Replicate. I'm going to put in the chat over here. And in there's a bunch of models which basically people have created and trained, and you can actually, within their interface, create videos using the Stable Diffusion technology. So that's one of them I've dropped there that I've found. And here is another one, but you need a GitHub account for it to work, and it's not horrible. So there's two things for you there, but I'll just leave them there in case I can help.
Well, thank you.
No worries.
So a video is just a bunch of images on top of one another. So all the video generation tools that you use, it is creating frame by frame images that work together. And the Sora model is just the best at matching where the next frame should go, right? So fundamentally, all video generation is image generation, but people we've made Stable Diffusion small enough where it can generate enough images where it can actually create full-fledged videos. The video style and I actually use a lot of Stable Diffusion in my work. The video style is very it's almost like a hallucination or like a acid trip because it's like kind of quickly changes images that zoom in and out. It's very good at that transition. But the physics are not so much there. So yeah, I mean, if you want to use stuff for VJing, if you're going for a very specific artistic output, Stable Diffusion is a very cheap, easy way to start. I think it's a great tool. And also Night Cafe is awesome. So play with them. Another one to look at is Eden Stable Diffusion. It's a tool called Eden AI. This one's really cool as well. Wait, Eden Art. I gotta find it for you, but this one's one of the best ones I've seen. Oh, here it is. Cool. This is also a really cool one for hosting images. And if you want some really good inspiration for people who are using these tools in really interesting ways, Eden's one of the coolest places to share your video creations, share your image creations. The community is amazing. If you go on Discord and have a question around image and video generation, they're super, super helpful. I highly encourage you to check it out.
Amazing. Thank you.
Cool. Anybody else? Any questions?
I got another one. Nick, have you ever mastered the kind of tricky art of creating characters that always look the same? So for instance, you create a character that's got a specific look and then always replicating that same look on that character. Is that something you've ever done?
Yeah, so the best example of this I can show you, if you want to start really simply in terms of character consistency, there's a tool that Midjourney recently introduced that makes this really powerful. Can you guys see my screen?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here. Wait, what was the Keanu? I think I did Keanu Reeves. I basically made a bunch of images of me and Keanu Reeves recently. And there's actually a new API that Midjourney recently released that allows us to make sure that every image we generate uses the same character as the previous one. I think it's called, I know it's the name of the method is called character consistency. I'm just trying to find you the exact prompt. You guys are, oh, here it is. Okay. So cref. So this is if you throw into Midjourney, let's do this one again. This is the example that I'm going to share with you guys. Here you go in Zoom. So if you use Midjourney, you can actually use this API endpoint. This is just me. You have to use two things. So cref is the is where you pass the image of who you want to use. So if you want to use yourself, you can pass an image of yourself. And then what you can do is, I'm going to do /imagine, put in my prompt, smiling man in, here we go. I'll say serious man in a classic movie, movie hero. And then when it has, I'm passing in two parameters, the character reference, which is the original image that we're using. So I'll show you guys what it looks like. And then here, oh, you can't see that part of my screen. Hold on. There we go. Desktop. I mean, that's what I uploaded. It's an image of me. I hope you guys can see that okay. And then what I did is I'm also passing in another thing that's --CW, which is character weight, which is like, how much do you want me to look like this character in their clothing? So the default is 50, but if I put it down to 20, it makes it more creative. And then you have to pass in, a lot of people forget this, --V 6.0. So this is a new feature that is not in Midjourney by default. It's still like being built out through the alpha. And so if you got a friend that you're looking to kind of make fun of, this is really, really fun to do it. So this is the way to do it with Midjourney. There's another tool that I really like to use for character consistency. It's called Scenario. Definitely one worth checking out. They do video game assets really well. So while consistency UX, because we make video game assets, you need the character to be the same all the time. So I know they have there it is. So you can kind of see here. I'm not going to open up the UI UX, but it is really good at making it really easy to fine tune the original art into slightly different variations. So in video games, you normally have like a shield or a sword level 1, level 2, level 3. They make it super easy to make it so there's small variations. So if you're looking to do like professional work, I would definitely check out Scenario. It's a video game tool, but normally if you want to see the future, you look at porn and video games. They're always on the bleeding edge. And then this is examples of like me as a classic movie star. So you can see that the characters, there you go, are in fact consistent. And this is only going to get better. So you can imagine scenarios where you're the main protagonist in a really sexy 1950s movie around like an investigation of some murder or something. And this is the big, God, I look good in glasses. I might get glasses now. And it's a really cool tool to use. Also, if you want to make more variations, you can just go ahead and down here and click like variations and just play with it. Like, yeah, this is a tool that, or now that we figured out how to do this in image video generation, it's not very far out. We're going to have it in video generation. And it's also to the point where you can clone your own voice and put it into the songs that you create. So there's really funny videos of some of your favorite content creators singing Frank Ocean songs and shit like that on the internet. So play with this stuff, don't be afraid to use it. Any other questions? Cool. All right. Well, I really appreciate everybody coming. Shannon, do you have a question, or just go off?
It might be a really stupid question. I'm not as versed in the stuff as you guys all clearly are. But so Midjourney, I know that it's generally, when I was last exploring it, it's all sort of open source, as you say, things you create, everyone can see and access. So in terms of commercial application of these things and licensing, like where is it all at with that? Like if you create something you want to essentially use commercially for a brand, I know these vary, but like where do you think things are going in terms of that? And access to things for commercial uses that are not going to be available to the world, essentially.
So currently today, every image that you generate on Midjourney is globally available to everybody else too, to use. There are lawsuits currently in action against Midjourney because it's trained on artist data. But in the future, and possibly even today, I believe you're going to have some AI generation tools that are ethical and, you know, fully sanctioned to be used in publicly and for work, and you have other ones which are more questionable. Right now, Midjourney is more questionable for sure. But recently, Adobe, there's a whole controversy around this, but Adobe released a tool called Firefly that they said was all trained on ethical images and none of it was anything artist generated. And said you were free to use this commercially, no problem. Only later we discovered they actually trained their data set on Midjourney images, which were generated off of non-ethically trained data. So it's like this weird thing where there hasn't been any lawsuits of any AI generated images that have actually come to fruition. Somebody tried to sue somebody for using AI generated image. They said, no, this is a new work. But yes, it is something to keep an eye out on. And when you are using any of these tools, especially professionally or something that's licensed, you have to look at the terms and conditions, right? It might not be the case, especially depending on your client and your client's risk appetite, that they're comfortable with you necessarily using AI tools. And you also have to be mindful if you're working with clients and how you communicate, how you use this tooling. Some clients are very innovative. They want to know everything from A to Z. Other clients are much more sensitive and might take that information as something different. So I think you're going to have to look deeper into the terms and conditions and find one that's good for the risk appetite, the clients you like to work with.
Yeah, I know the commercial application of it's already quite interesting. Just seeing how it all evolves, you know. Cool. That was my question.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, I've advised some big social media companies on like the tools that should be using. We had a written guarantee from Adobe, and then that all went to shit. So it's like, you know, like I think we need to be much more mindful of the things we use, and we just can't be using off-the-shelf stuff. With that said, if you're doing ideation, if you're doing vision boarding, if you're trying to create, right now, Midjourney is still to this day the best image generation tool out there. If you're creating your initial concepts, I highly recommend using that one, even if you're using one that's more commercially viable or ethically sourced to make the actual image.
Yeah, so I know for concepting and things like that, it's for sure highly valuable. It's just more like the end output, you know, the usage around that. But yeah, it's still helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, I would definitely, no matter what you're doing with clients, I would definitely be using Magnific. But then the question becomes, if I use an image, run it through a polish machine like Magnific, is that a new work? We have not answered that for the legality sake. So I can't advise on it explicitly, but as far as I know, nobody's gotten in trouble for using an AI generated image yet. Those lawsuits are in motion, but as far as the last I've seen is that it has not happened yet. But look at the lawsuits against Midjourney, and that's probably the bleeding edge because they're doing like $300 million a month of where the attention is going.
Yeah, cool. Thanks.
Any other questions, comments, concerns? Great.
As things are exponentially evolving, within a year, what do you see happening? Could everything be twice as good, even just in a year?
I expect everything to be exponentially as good. I don't think it's a 2 times 3x. I think it's a 30 to 50x. Because of the innovation I described earlier, we've now have a model where AI can describe physics. OpenAI has not released this to the world yet, but this is a key innovation that we've been looking, like scientists have been excited about it, physicians, a lot of people, and this can lead to exponential gains in terms of the efficacy and impact of all the tools that we've now built. For example, when we buy, it's based on the training data of sounds, right, which are like zeros and ones in computers of previous songs. Now, if AI understands physics, we actually can understand how a string of a violin vibrates, replicate that into a digital world in order to create music from a physics-first perspective. It changes the game in so many different ways, and that's one of many innovations that I'm seeing overlap that's going to unlock incredible abilities of instant creation that I don't think we're even aware of what's possible yet. So I don't think we are on a linear curve. I think we are on an exponential curve in terms of what's possible, and like the world of creation will be very different a year from now, especially with AI autonomous agents coming on board. AI girlfriends are now becoming a thing. It's going to be weird. And like, we are 100% on an exponential curve, and it might be the most exciting time to be a technologist. So, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it's cool, but also kind of terrifying.
The girlfriend thing is really
I
terrifying.
love her. It's like Her, the movie Her. I love that film, but oh, weird.
I think we're all going to have AI girlfriends, guys. They're going to be great.
You're clearly on board.
I mean, I'm single, so I'm good. I asked my ex-girlfriend if she'd let me date AI. She said only if it's male. So that was the boundary.
There was that one Black Mirror episode with the game when they were in that game, and do you see that one where they became like lovers in the game? And I was like, fine, because it was in the game. Weird. All these sort of weird scenarios are going to start playing out. It's bizarre.
An incarnation, is that not what this is? You know, you're going and like dancing on these lives to like figure things out and learn stuff about each other to inform a higher self. Like, yeah, it doesn't look so crazy. But I don't think this is the time for that rabbit hole. Cool. Any other questions around generative AI or the future of art or anything like that?
I mean, this is obviously really, in a way, hurting copywriters are the first ones, I think, to take the biggest knock here. Not to say that there's no work, and obviously prompts matter a lot and knowing how to use these tools. But how do you see for creators, like freelance creatives, sorry, let's say, this sort of evolving their craft? Is it just, you see this just as another tool and they'll still be absolutely essential because they'll be driving the tools? Like, this is obviously has a big impact for creatives, you know, as a sort of profession. I'm just curious where you see that all like ultimately leading.
Yeah, definitely. So my recommendation to people in the freelance world or people providing services, very aggressively embrace this technology. I encourage you to cannibalize yourself, right? I have different talks around this specific subject as well. I think some of them are on YouTube. I'll send you links later, but like, you need to be mindful of how AI is impacting your work. So I'll share with you just one. This is a framework that I take entrepreneurs through, and it's something that I encourage you to do. So I call it, I'll just go to evidence. So basically, you can map every single product that you have and sell as a business owner onto this chart. So the question is, how exposed is a specific part of my business, right? And then how confident is the decision maker or the purchaser that AI can do that job, right? So down here, giving a hug is not very exposed, right? And I have a very low confidence that AI can do it, versus UI UX, it's very exposed. AI can fully understand it, but me as someone who's led dozens of designers and UI UX research, UX creators, I have very low confidence. Website design, though, it's kind of getting there. right? Creating landing pages and be able to build sustainable landing pages. I've seen examples of it, so confidence is moving up. And then customer support is an example that's fully exposed, and we've got AI that's good enough to fulfill it. And we need to be mindful of not only how our products map to this chart, but also the tasks that we're doing every day or delegating to our team, as well as the roles and responsibilities that we are hiring for, right? So again, copywriter, it was very highly exposed because all copy is available to AI. Now, because of ChatGPT, we have Claude, we have all these things. We're becoming much more confident AI can completely do that. And this is different for every individual job. So as a creator, you need to be mindful of these shifts, right? So when something like copywriting is fully exposed and then it's fully confident, that's when industries change, right? That's when you go from every copywriter and their mother being hired to suddenly 90% of them cannot find work, right? This is now might be the case for creating pitch decks because Microsoft just launched a pitch deck creation app. This might be the case for video because OpenAI very soon will have a public release of Sora. So this is when you need to be mindful of how your products, the people that you're hiring within your company, or if you're fulfilling a specific role, be mindful of these movements because this is when the world changes. So this is the framework. There's another step to it, Shan, that I have recorded somewhere. Just ask me for it later. And there's a second step to this where based on where your products or services or roles fall in that chart, there's different strategies to move and to act upon.
Cool, thank you. Yeah, really helpful. I'm going to ask you for that for sure.
Great. Any other questions? Awesome. So one thing AI cannot do, it can't go to festivals. So this weekend's Moga Festival. Tonight is a Ware at Casareya. That's where I'm going to be tonight. So if you guys find me at Moga, please give me a hug. Please say hi. Follow me and all the things. If you have any additional questions, please feel free to reach out to me on Instagram. I'm happy to provide you. You're going to get a recording of this video, and I've got a bunch of other supplementary tutorials and stuff across all my channels. And if you have any additional questions, I'm happy to answer them after the long Moga Festival weekend when I am back and grounded again, probably middle of next week. Okay. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Nick. Bye.
Thanks.
Thank
Have a good one. See you.